Stray cats. You know stray cats. You either love them or hate them. And if you love them, they probably hate you. But I don't think strays hate you. I mean, I wondered if they actually do, like geese. But it turns out cats are anxious just like everyone else. Except for geese. I've met more than my fair share of stray cats who weren't anxious around me though. My brother, and later me, met these cats at a park. There were so many of them, it's hard to keep track of every single one. I can't tell you how many times I forget the cats he tells me about. I even had to ask for their names for this video. The star of the litter is Butch. She's about the most attention-seeking cat ever until I tell you about the other one. She gets so excited when she sees my brother in the distance. More than any other cat, she would rub herself between our legs that didn't come out right. She does this so that neither of us could leave. It's so cute that she thinks that because I could just... And when other cats wanted our attention, she would antagonize them. Then there was my cat. As in the cat I mostly visit, I don't own her. So I've been going on walks for almost 10 years now. It wasn't until half a year ago that I met a cat at a bus station I usually pass by. I couldn't settle on a name, so her name's Bust Up Cat, or BS for short. I mean, I thought about calling her Angel since she was really sweet, and not because she always kept an eye on me, which she always did. Maybe Angel was better. Whenever I would get closer to the bus stop, BS would always spot me from a distance and trot up to me, meowing and meowing and meowing and meow. She always wouldn't let me leave by the time I was done spending like 10 minutes with her. She was definitely more intense than Butch. She's the friendliest cat ever. Unlike most cats, she doesn't have an ulterior motive. She's very young, so she trusts pretty much everyone, at least with every human she comes across. She used to live in this pretty big parking lot, which was populated with lots of cats that weren't friendly with her. I don't think even Butch would have liked her, because Butch doesn't like cats. There were two cats who bullied BS. One of them was this weird thing. It looked ragged, it twitched a lot, and it barked whenever it got close to BS. From a distance, it looked exactly like her, so it's embarrassing when I'd mistake BS with it. I'm probably a racist because clearly they look alike. The other bully was this old, fat, black and white cat. I call him Shadow because he's a creep. Sometimes whenever I come over to see BS and she's all tense and cautious, that usually means Shadow's around. He would just stare her down and she'd stare back, as if running away would be too dangerous. Sometimes BS would disappear for weeks, but then she'd be back like nothing happened. Like I meant nothing. But then one time BS was gone for a whole month. I was starting to think that she moved for good, but then I saw her across the parking lot. It was kind of a shock for one thing. She had lost a lot of weight, and for another thing, Shadow was staring her down again. Shadow's a creep, but he's got balls. You know why? Because he's a guy. Because he didn't move an inch when I tried shooing him. Maybe shooing isn't manly enough. Anyway, I stood in Shadow's way until BS was comfortable enough to back off. We both left, and I swear to whatever cat gods are out there, Shadow stared the whole time. BS led me to an entrance of an apartment building, and oh look! Okay, so for context, my brother thought BS was pregnant, but I insisted that she was just fat. But I guess I was wrong. BS had given birth to 3 kittens. Only one of them looked like her, but the rest, black and white. BS really wanted me to spend time with them, but I couldn't stick around for long. I really had to get out of there. I was on private property for one thing, and for another, I was recording a video of them. Oh, it gets better. Kids were there too. I couldn't sleep at night because of this. Surely you don't need an explanation. Kids used to beat the crap out of me. The next day, my brother and I went to see the cats. I really didn't want to go at first, but I'm pretty glad I did. If I hadn't, the cats would have vanished out of my life forever. Without a trace too. We met Tina and Samantha, who tried to move BS and the kittens into a box. We said hi and learned that they're moving the cats to another building because the kids were tossing the kittens around. I mean, I used to toss my pet chicks around until they died, so... We also learned that, according to Samantha, Shadow impregnated all the girl cats in the parking lot. What the hell, guys? Is that why you wouldn't budge? Because you could f me if you wanted? The moving process was a little tricky. The kitties, of course, cooperated, but BS wouldn't budge. I tried carrying her and made it across the street too, but she scrambled and ran off. Clearly, the plan wasn't working, so Tina and Samantha decided to go get a carrier. While my brother and I waited, guess who showed up? My brother tried to scare Shadow away, and he did. Shadow scrammed in the other direction. He ran over to the entrance and we locked eyes. I may have projected, but I swear I saw fear in his eyes. He took off and ducked under a parked car on the other side of the entrance wall, and I haven't seen him since. Tina and Samantha finally arrived with the carrier. It was a bit tricky getting BS inside, so I had to push her button there. Finally, we moved the cats into this really nice looking apartment building and stuck them in the back alley of the parking garage. It's a nice alley though. I mean, we covered up the holes and planks with rusty nails, but it was really nice. The four of us just talked while BS explored the place. Tina or Samantha, I forgot who, thought that she was just making sure everything was safe and sound. That makes sense. I read somewhere that if mother cats don't feel safe with her kids, she would eat them. Eventually, it was getting late, so it was time for me and my robot brother to go. I felt better knowing the cats had a new home, safe from Shadow and the rabid dog cat thing. I get to visit them whenever I want now, which is almost never. I hate you. Oh, and it turns out Tina's daughter had already met BS and named her a while ago. Her name is Trillian, so everyone just pretend I called BS Trillian the whole time.